It is Wednesday, my dudes, and today, this is Armchair Analysis. Today, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got DWI arrests, we got Bama, West Virginia canceling a series. We've even got South Carolina running back Russell face on, so we got to both sides of the coin of the South Carolina Virginia Tech game. A little bit to talk about there. We also have a preview, once again. This time, we are previewing Notre Dame at Miami. We'll give you guys a I don't know why I say we. I will give you guys my predictions, my thoughts on what this game's going to look like, and everything. A couple points for this game, as we've done throughout the week. So make sure you stick around. If you're new around here, subscribe. That's all I ask. We got 90% of you that watch these are not subscribed. If you just hit that button really quickly, I mean, it takes literally the amount of time it's taken me to tell you this, you could have done it 15 times already. Subscribe. Though you don't miss anything here on Armchair Analysis. We talk everybody all year round, and we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We got previews coming tomorrow of Thursday's games. We got preview of Friday's action coming up as well. So make sure y'all are here and don't miss out on anything we do. We also have live shows on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Don't want to miss those. We talk about everything, again, going on in the college football world, including Saturday and the action. We preview it on Saturday morning. We recap it on Sunday. It's a lot of fun. So make sure y'all stick around. With all that said, let's go ahead and get into today's news. And I'm going to start with the news out of Tuscaloosa and Morgantown. West Virginia and Alabama have canceled their series that was set to happen in 2026 and 2027. This is all a part of an ever-changing world of college football where the SEC has announced a 9-game schedule. And it was made very clear that that's part of the reason this is happening. West Virginia and Alabama both state that they would like to not play in this series. West Virginia, of course, would like to play what they stated was more aligned to a team that wants to make the college football playoff, being a Power Five, a Group of Five, and an FCS opponent. I don't know if that really helps with the strength of schedule. Certainly could have helped if you'd have played Alabama, but that's your own prerogative. Alabama, similar, same exact thing. They already had Florida State on the schedule. They decided they wanted to take off West Virginia. It's kind of a shame. I was looking forward to this series. I thought the next year West Virginia would have been kind of a sneaky contender in that game. Maybe even in 2027 specifically, could have been a contender in that game. Rich Rod, of course, trying to bring that team back and put his stamp back on things over there in Morgantown. And Kalen DeVore looking to kind of rebound, I guess, off of what last year was, missing the playoffs, going 9-4. Both of these programs have aspirations to get to the playoff and be playoff contenders, be conference championship contenders in their respective conferences. And we take away this game, which I think is unfortunate. And truly, I feel like it would have been a better game than what Florida State would have put together next year. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, certainly I could be. Um, but it would have been interesting. Taking a look at the schedules now for next year, Alabama has a 2026 schedule of East Carolina, USF, and Florida State. That is a non-conference schedule next year. West Virginia now has a non-conference schedule of Coastal Carolina, UT Martin, and Virginia. Um, I expect a lot more of this. I think this is going to happen more and more as we start to go down the line. Teams are going to follow suit on this. Teams that don't really want to play in that second Power Five matchup are going to probably cancel it, pay their way out of it, and move on. It's unfortunate because it kind of takes away some good games throughout the season for us, but that is the model that everybody's trying to take. That Power Five, Group of Five FCS, or Power Five and 2 Group of Five opponents, and in the end of the day, both of these schedules are still tougher than what Indiana plays. I'm not trying. Look, if you're an Indiana fan, I'm sorry, but understand that Kurt Cignetti very, very open about his thoughts on the SEC schedule. These two are a lot better than anything Indiana's got in the next 5. So, um, it just is what it is. Moving on, let's talk about Sunday real quick. Well, we're going to be on Sunday for the rest of this episode, as a matter of fact. South Carolina running back Russell Faison was announced that he was eligible to play this season, which is great. We've been waiting on that news all offseason here on Armchair Analysis. because this is a big deal for South Carolina. He's kind of pivotal to the South Carolina's success this year. I don't think there's another running back on the roster who can play the role that Ross will face on, has the ability to play. That's what makes this important. I think that he's going to bring an extra element to this offense. He's going to bring extra eyes to this offense. And what I think people are going to realize come Sunday, and it's Virginia Tech. People are going to say that. People are going to say, oh, well, it's just Virginia Tech. They haven't been that good. What I think people are going to realize is that this offense is more dynamic than they expect or that they think. This is a good receiver room, and this is certainly a good running back. I think they have a good pair of running backs. And then you have Lenore Sellers, who's a Heisman candidate early on in the year. At least that's the expectation. When you add a running back like this to the table, put him into the offense, I think it really helps and only amplifies, I think, the hopes and the aspirations that the South Carolina team has. It's going to be a lot to watch. I am very excited to see how the run game looks when when Carolina kicks off on Sunday, again, out there in Atlanta, or down there in Atlanta for me, against Virginia Tech. On the other side of this rivalry, Virginia Tech linebacker and team captain Caleb Woodson was arrested for DWI earlier this week. As a matter of fact, it was Saturday last week. That's a bit of a problem. The reason being, we don't really know what's going to happen. But again, he's a team captain, so that's already a little bit problematic in the locker room. But on top of that, Brent Pry has gone out and stated that punishment's going to be handled internally. No decision on his status for Sunday against South Carolina. If they internally suspend him for that South Carolina game, that's a big thing to deal with. I think that would be arguably a man. I don't want to overspeak here. I don't want to oversell it because I don't think that Virginia Tech's defense solely relies on Caleb Woodson, but this Virginia Tech defense is going to have to kind of figure out who they are. They're still learning an identity over there. Of course, you have James Joncom, who's coming over, going to play more of an edge rusher, or is an edge rusher, going to play that role. Who can step up and step into the role of Woodson? I don't really know the answer to that. It's going to be very interesting to watch. We'll kind of keep an eye on that as we go, and hopefully have an answer by the time Sunday comes in and rolls around. But here's a quote from Brent Pry. He says, "There's been a lot of discussions over the last few days regarding this matter. And there's certainly internal program consequences at play, measures at play, and then the university's policy, the athletic department policies. We're committed to seeing that out." Seems as though, saying the right things, but hopefully, they don't forego that because of the opponent. And I'm not saying that I want him to be suspended, but at some point, there's a lot of schools kind of just bend the rules for their athletes. We've seen this happen multiple times at other schools and haven't really seen a whole lot of punishment towards that. It would be kind of refreshing to see accountability. As an old school person, it would be refreshing to see a little bit of accountability handed to the players. That would be something to me. But there again, I'm not the one running a college football program. Maybe I'd feel differently if I was in charge, but can't say because I'm not. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on. We got another Sunday game to talk about, and I know that's going to look different. That graphic is not correct, but I'm gonna fix it for you guys. Don't you worry. There we go, just like that. Notre Dame goes on the road on Sunday night to face Miami. This game is a 7:30 kickoff on ABC. Was announced earlier this week that Sean McDonough is going to be on the call for that, so that's awesome. I'm actually really excited for that. Of course, I love Kirk Herbstreit, love the Chris Fowler Herbie combo, but there's something about McElroy and McDonough that I think is going to be a lot of fun. At least I'm pretty sure that's still the pairing, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Excited for that. Notre Dame walks into this game on the road as 2.5-point favorites. Miami definitely has some, maybe a chip on their shoulder being an underdog even at home. Over/under sits at 49.5. That's gonna be an interesting number. I think these two defenses have a lot of potential. When you look at this game, you're talking about a team in Miami who's looking to replicate their offensive production last year. 530 yards of total offense. They were top 5 in the majority of statistical categories. Obviously, they were led by Cam Ward. They were led by what was a really good receiver room, or at least a solid enough receiver room, and even a pretty solid running back. What they have this year is a really good offensive line, and they're going to have to kind of answer questions on everything other than quarterback. We know Carson Beck. We know what he's going to do. But even with Carson Beck, we've seen some mistakes in these games. We've seen Carson Beck in a big game have the unforced error. The other thing with Carson Beck is he 100% healthy? Is he 100% going into week 1? Obviously, you would hope that's the case. We don't want to see, one, we don't want to see anybody get hurt or re-injure themselves. Number 2, we obviously want to see the best game possible. And Carson Beck being fully healthy gives us probably the best game possible here. Really like what Carson Beck has to offer, and certainly, I mean, I'm intrigued to watch him in the Shannon Dawson offense. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm really excited to see that. The biggest thing for me, and if you see it on the screen, I don't need to reiterate it, but I'm going to tell you that forcing CJ Carr into mistakes. I was watching some earlier today, and they were talking about Derek Carr. That's unfortunate. But forcing CJ Carr into mistakes, I think, is a huge thing. This kid being a first-time starter, this is his first game action. He didn't see any last year. First game action, and you get thrown to the Wolves against a pretty solid defense in Miami, at least a good front 7. Immaturity is going to pop up. We're going to see mistakes happen. How many mistakes and how pivotal are the mistakes? Is it an interception in the red zone? Is it an interception in your own territory? What kind of mistake is forced in this game by the Miami defense that leads to points? Really, is I think the biggest thing is how many mistakes can you force and how many of them can lead to points on the other end. This Miami offense is, again, I think they're going to take a little bit of time to figure it out. I think it's going to take about a quarter for both these teams to really figure themselves out. I think they're going to carry a very heavy focus into the running game of Notre Dame, of course, as you should, because Jeremiah loves a Heisman contender, a Heisman hopeful himself. But I think it all predicates and really relies on getting around this offensive line and creating havoc in the backfield for CJ Carr, making him uncomfortable, forcing him again into those rookie mistakes, those freshman, sophomore, well, he's a redshirt freshman, mistakes. And I think if that happens, Miami's got a really good shot to win this game, because I don't think that Notre Dame can just run the ball against this front 7 of Miami. It's not going to happen. They're going to need to rely a little bit on the passing game. How many good opportunities can they get them into? Plenty to figure out there. As for Notre Dame, as you see, give the ball to number 4, Jeremiah Love. Make him your offense. And that doesn't just mean in the run game. You're not going to be able to, again, just line it up 12, 13 personnel and run against Miami. You might. But I don't think it's going to work all game. And I think that utilizing Jeremiah Love, you can utilize him in the pass game. I think people really underrate what he can do out of the backfield as a receiver. Give him the opportunity, give him the ball, and allow him to create plays. Allow him to be the Heisman contender that everybody's parading him as, which I agree. I think he certainly can be. Give him the ball, allow him to make the plays, let CJ Carr get comfortable, and then eventually start throwing the ball down the field, start taking your chances, and allow the game to play out how it's going to. Allow it to be a natural progression. Don't kill the confidence of CJ Carr, but let him make his mistakes. You can only learn, especially a kid like this, who I think, at least I personally trust, to be somebody who figures it out, makes his mistakes, and then moves on from them and learns from them. I think that only helps you going down the road. You have a bye week after this week too to really fix the problems. It's not like you lose this game, should you? It's not like you lose this game and then you go right into another game against a team that's just as good. No, you're going to get a chance to really take your time and fix this thing before Texas A&M comes to town, which is going to be another great game. So allow him to make his plays. Allow him to do what he's got to do, but make sure you utilize Jeremiah Love. Get him involved in any way possible, moving the ball down the field. I think this Notre Dame team's going to have a lot of success with that. Already kind of mentioned 2 things, but the other thing I'm looking at is this new look secondary. You lose guys like Xavier Watts, and What do they look like? They bring in Devonta Smith from Alabama to play and kind of replace that role. How does he fit in? How does this new look defense fit in? Remember, they're bringing in a new defensive coordinator this year. What does this Notre Dame defense look like early in this game? I think they're going to be pretty good, but we don't know. We need to see a little bit more, and I really am curious again about this secondary. That's probably my biggest question mark on this entire team. And again, it's thankful because we have a bit of questionable. We don't really know who's going to step up for Miami offensively in the receiver room. We're expecting JoJo Trader to be good, but is he? Will he be good? Questions to be answered, of course, on Sunday when we actually see these teams on the field. But this Notre Dame secondary, a bit of a question mark to me, a bit of a mystery, if we will. Looking on the other side, a couple more points I wanted to make. Again, who steps up as a wide receiver for Miami? Will it be JoJo Trader? Will somebody else come out of the woodwork and become a playmaker, become a favorite target of Carson Beck, and really help this offense take that step and continue? And I'm not saying they're going to put up the numbers they did last year, but if they can stay within 5 points, because they expect to be fast, they expect to move the ball down the field and score a lot of points. Can they continue to do that this year? Or do they take a step backwards just because nobody's able to step up? I think somebody will. Again, I'm looking at JoJo Trader. I know I keep reiterating the same point there, but really think that's going to be it. And what looks like a kind of a bit of a mystery, an enigma, if you will, going into this season. And then the other thing for me, it goes back to Notre Dame giving the ball to Jeremiah Love. Can the line of scrimmage hold up? Can the defensive line, can the front seven hold up for Miami against what's certain to be I think a devastating run game. I think Notre Dame is going to run the ball, and I think they're going to do it pretty well. That's going to create problems. But again, it can't just be the run game. That's what holds me back a lot in this game. Is I know Notre Dame's going to run the ball. They're probably going to have, if I were to guess, they're probably going to sit somewhere between 125 and 175. I think that's where they're going to sit in the run game. If they do, and if they're on the upper end of that, they may be in contention. They may even win this game, especially if CJ McCarr takes care of the football. But if they don't, if they sit on the lower end, does that play into Miami's game? Does that mean the line of scrimmage held up all game? Because you're going to wear down. You're going to be, if you're getting leaned on all game, you are eventually going to wear down. We just saw it. Iowa State couldn't run the ball really all that effectively for 3 quarters. Fourth quarter rolls around and they get Carson Hansen back in the game, and they are pushing the ball down the field at will. That can happen here too. And it's certainly a question that I'm going to be watching for. Will the Miami defensive line, will the Miami defense uphold their end on the line of scrimmage? If so, it helps them out. Again, we look at the lines here. Notre Dame -2.5. Over/under sits at 49.5. I'm not touching this game. I'm sitting back as a spectator and saying, okay, play your game. Let's watch this thing. And I'm excited for it. I'm picking Miami to win. 28-24 is my ultimate prediction. I think that Notre Dame's going to have trouble closing out in a few drives and maybe have some mistakes of their own there. I think they're going to run the ball well. I think they're going to sit probably, I said 125 to 175. If I were to give you a number, I think it's going to be 140s is where they're going to land in the rushing game. What I think is going to happen, but with that, is that Miami is going to stay good in the on the line of scrimmage. What they're going to do is create a turnover or two, and that's what's going to ultimately win them the game. I think that Carson Beck is going to, they're going to ultimately play it pretty comfortable with Carson Beck, do what they got to do, make sure he stays healthy again, because we don't really, at least I don't know, and I don't think anybody truly knows what exactly his health looks like. Is it 70? Is it 80? Is it 90? Is he 100%? Coming off of a torn UCL is an injury that I don't really wish upon anybody. That is a tough one to get over. That's a tough one to move past. How can he go through the course of this game? How can they move the ball? How much do they rely on his arm, or do they try to run the ball a little bit? A lot of questions that we will have answered, and certainly even as I sit here, I go back and forth on this game. But as of right now, I'm taking Miami 28-24 to get the win. The storyline out of this game is that Carson Beck looks good, takes care of the football. Rookie mistakes from CJ Carr early in the game put the Irish behind the 8 ball, and they just can't overcome it. So that's where I sit right now. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your picks for this game. Let me know what you guys think of everything we've talked about today. We got a lot on the slate today. But we'll be back tomorrow, of course, with the Thursday game previews. We got Notre Dame, Nebraska and Cincinnati over in Arrowhead Stadium. We even have a big time group of 5 matchup, Boise State at USF. That's going to be a lot of fun. East Carolina goes on the road to NC State. East Carolina, last time these two teams played, to my knowledge, ECU won. So that's a big deal. And then Miami, Ohio goes on the road to face Wisconsin. Miami, Ohio might just be able to pull the upset there. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I've got a hunch that game is going to be a lot closer than people think. Friday preview, we got games like Appalachian State and North Carolina Charlotte, or Charlotte for those familiar. That game's going to be at Bank of America Stadium Friday night. I'm excited for that. Unfortunately, I work, and for those who don't know, I work in that area, so that'll be interesting. Auburn at Baylor is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see that environment in Waco. Georgia Tech at Colorado. That's a fun early matchup, and Colorado just announced Caden Salter to be their starting quarterback, so a lot to look forward to in that one. And then UNLV looks to put behind them their week 0 struggles and maybe cover their 10.5 against Sam Houston. Who knows? And then we got again live show Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Saturday we'll be previewing the whole day of Saturday games. We'll recap everything we've seen, what we saw on Friday night. Sunday we'll recap everything we saw on Saturday and kind of lead you into Sunday and Monday, where we then go back and kind of redo this whole thing again next week with a lot more, just plenty more storylines at that point after we've had a week of football. So let us know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are excited for this weekend, what you pick for Notre Dame, Miami. This is our final game preview like this going forward tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of looking ahead, looking at games that night, looking at games Friday night on Friday. Take 10 comes out on Friday. Make sure you guys are around for that. That's not betting advice. That's what I'm betting this weekend. That's me telling you guys kind of, you can either fade me, maybe you follow with me. But we got a lot of fun content coming your way this year, and I'm really excited for it. Next week as well, we'll have our week 1 top 25. I'll release a new set of rankings that I think are suitable and what I would have, I guess. But yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank y'all so much. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your midweek here on Wednesday, and we will see you guys again tomorrow, Thursday, with another episode here of Armchair Analysis.